So, Andrew and I started talking about this maybe about a week or so ago, about coming up with something to say that would address the new year. And he directed me to Galatians 2:20 and said, hey, preach on that. I'm like, okay, I think I can do that. But I started thinking about how Galatians 2:20 relates to us in the time that we're in right now. Okay? I'll read it for you real quick. It says, "My old self has been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. So I live in this earthly body by trusting in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me." So that doesn't really sound a whole lot like Paul saying anything like Happy New Year exactly. That's not what crucifixion says to me. But he does talk a lot about how his old self is gone on the cross with Jesus who died, and it didn't come back when Jesus rose again. And so I started thinking about some of the things that happened in 2015 that I frankly haven't seen yet in 2016. However, because I'm really cheap and I decided I didn't want to have to pay for Wi-Fi or cable, the only things that I really know outside of my own bubble that happened in 2015 are things that happened in the sports world. I know that the Warriors won the NBA title. I know that the Seahawks narrowly lost the Super Bowl. I don't really know what happened in hockey because it's kind of boring. Somebody won the World Cup. Right? There was a World Cup this past year, right? 2 years ago?
Forgot who won.
No? See, I don't really care about soccer either. But the Royals won. I know, sorry. Ooh, it's a huge American sport. But I do know that the Royals won the World Series. And I really don't care about them either because I'm a Yankee fan. But
Yes.
these are the things that I know that happened in 2015. But what I wanted to do is see if you guys could tell me some major events, both positive and negative, that happened in 2015. I want maybe 5 total. And if you could try and give me about the time that it happened, I don't need a date, I just need a month. Just some major things that happened in the United States and in the world last year. Does anybody know? Oh, you already started raising your hand.
Oh, I'm going to say Kanye West and he's going for president.
Okay. Yeah, that is one unfortunate example of an event from 2015. Anybody else? Some other examples?
Kanye West and he's going for president.
We need 4 more. That's a lot
San
of awkward silence.
Bernardino shooting.
What happened?
San Bernardino shooting.
San Bernardino shooting? Okay.
Somebody say Paris?
I used to live 20 minutes from St.
Did you?
Oh yeah, there was a terrorist attack in Paris.
The terrorist attack in Paris?
There's also a shooting in Sacramento.
Shooting second. So there's a lot of terrorism in 2015, right?
Gay marriage was legalized.
Gay marriage was legalized. Yeah. Oh, something funny that I found out in Ohio, they actually thought that marijuana was going to be legalized, and so they actually were putting on a whole bunch of clinics about how to run your own distribution centers. And so a lot of people bought into it, and then the law didn't pass. And so there were a whole bunch of people who spent a bunch of money thinking that they were going to be selling marijuana, and now they're not. Well, they might still be illegally, but not for the state. I don't know, I can't speak for all that. But
Like Colorado.
yeah, they should go to Colorado. Get out of Washington.
Or Washington.
Yeah. What are some other things? Nate, give me 2 more. What else happened in 2015? Blake Shelton and Miranda Lambert split up. Okay.
Oh, who?
For
Fast
them.
and Furious.
Career got destroyed.
Huh?
Paul Walker died.
Was that 2015?
No, that was
I thought that was 14.
That was 14. Yeah,
Oh, we're gonna have to edit that off the tape.
Yesterday.
That's not good.
So sorry.
Women's World Cup, United States won. That's cool. Josh, Erica?
He left One Direction.
Zane left One Direction.
Don't remind me.
Whitney Houston's daughter at 22 died.
Whitney Houston's daughter died. Andrew?
I bought a house.
You bought a house? Yeah.
Bad thing.
All right. Yes.
Grandson.
Grandson for Carrie. So there's a whole...
We conceived a son.
Oh,
My soul.
Okay? So a lot happened.
Caitlyn Jenner won Woman of the Year.
Caitlyn Jenner
Don't
won
remind me
an
that.
ESPY.
Don't.
Bruce Jenner, sorry.
Or Bruce Jenner.
No.
But Jenner won an ESPY.
Caitlyn. Yeah, she wants
Somebody,
What?
and
She wants to be Bruce.
Are you serious?
anyway. So that was 2015. We had sports events, terrorism, changes in our legal system, stupid people in Ohio, a lot of things in pop culture. That's all 2015. Okay? Brenton, would you mind popping a picture up on the screen for me? Does anybody know what that is?
Baby.
It's a baby. Does anybody know anything else specifically about that baby?
It's a girl.
It was conceived in 2015.
There's a good chance. There's a good chance it's a girl. Maybe progressive parents. You don't know. Okay.
Is it the first baby of the year?
It is the first baby of the year. That is the first baby in the Chicago area of 2016. Now, I say that because I went through Google Images, and frankly, I couldn't find a definitive baby for 2016. But for the city of Chicago, Illinois, that is the first baby of 2016. What can you tell me about what that baby did in the world, not in the womb, in 2015? What did that baby do in 2015? Anybody?
Get made.
It was made.
It was made, yeah. What did it do?
It screamed.
Nothing.
It grew. It did nothing. That baby did nothing but sit there and take in nutrients through its umbilical cord and kick around, and you may see a handprint every now and then, but that's about the biggest impact that it made on the world in 2015, except for maybe stress out its parents financially. That's about the only thing that baby did last year. Okay? And so I can guarantee you that when that little girl was born, that when she came out and when her parents were holding her for the first time, that they were not thinking about all the stupid stuff that she had done to get grounded back in September of 2015. Because she didn't exist. She's a new creation. She has no past. She only has a future to look forward to. She doesn't have anything dumb that she's done that she can be judged by. She doesn't have any mistakes or preconceived notions about her by which other people can make assumptions. She is completely new, and she's pretty cute too. She really is. And let's be real, some babies are kind of ugly. You guys know that? You like to think that your relatives' babies are cute, but not all of them are. But this baby is completely new, just like the person that Paul is talking about in Galatians 2:20. I'll read it again. He says, "My old self has been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. So I live in this earthly body by trusting in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me." Paul isn't worried about the old self because it's dead. That baby isn't worried about the old self because, frankly, there isn't an old self to worry about. So it's got a bit of a step up on us in terms of life in general, because we have things that we like to carry with us. So today, and I'm not a fashionable individual at all, at all. In fact, I always ask department store people what I should buy, because otherwise I don't match. Every day I go into work, I have to bring in about 5 or 6 ties so I can make sure that it matches my suit. And I always ask my tellers, "Hey, does this match?" And sometimes they'll say yes and give me good advice. Sometimes they'll mess with me and my clients look at me funny. Okay? But I got these shoes, the ones that I'm wearing, I got these right at the end of 2015. I got them after Christmas. Got them probably like December 30th. I bought these shoes back in February of 2015. Okay? So they may not look like it now, but these were actually okay shoes when I first purchased them. They were brown. I could wear them sparingly, and if no one looked at my feet, I could pass them off as dress shoes, because they just see a flash of brown and think, "Oh, surely he would be more responsible than to wear casual shoes to a professional environment," and they would be wrong. But now, after working in these, playing dodgeball in them, going through various terrain, they are worn. If you look here at the bottom, this little piece of rubber is supposed to come up and cover this frayed piece of fabric. Unfortunately, it no longer does that, and so there was a period of time, such as the day I bought these shoes when I went to the store wearing these ones, where if it rains heavily, there's actually a hole in the fabric, and it soaks my foot. There is also not that problem in this shoe, but there is a hole in the bottom. So if I step into a puddle in one foot, I will get soaked through the side, the other one I will get soaked through the bottom. So I will get wet no matter what, and it is uncomfortable regardless of the technique that H2O decides to use. However, those shoes are not these shoes. These shoes are still shiny for the time being. I don't know how to polish shoes, so this will go away eventually. They still have a new shoe smell because I have not played dodgeball in them. They are definitely professional. I've been told they may be old man shoes, but I really don't care because I have old man tastes. If I knew how to utilize suspenders, I would absolutely wear them all the time. But I can walk in water with these and I don't have to worry about it because they're new. They haven't had anything bad happen to them. So it would be foolish of me if earlier today when it was raining, if I was constantly avoiding puddles. It's like, oh man, I don't want to get wet. I don't want to get wet. I got to get out of this. That's the same thing that we do a lot of times as Christians because we treat our new lives as though they're the ones that we used to have. So it doesn't make much sense for me to be worrying about my feet getting wet when I'm walking in these shoes because these things are watertight unless you pour it straight into the top and then I put my foot in, but that would be pretty foolish. But the Christian life can be the same way. Sometimes we will accept Christ and we will go back to doing the exact same things that we used to do before we became Christians. How many of us have gone to a youth group retreat and sang with the worship band and they got all the lights and I was like, you know, for a weekend or 5 days, and then you get back to school or you get back to your home, you get back to your friends and your family, and you're doing the exact same things that you did before you thought you were super Christian at Impact or Alive or whatever other camp that you went to. I can say that happened to me on at least 3 occasions when I was in high school. And it never made any sense because I thought that because I was a Christian that I would never want to do that stuff anymore, but I still did. Which is why it's important to focus on what Paul also says in this verse, where it says that he's still living in his earthly body. But he doesn't live in the earthly body by trusting in Paul and what Paul can do. It says, so I live in this earthly body by trusting in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. So after we become a new creation, we are supposed to pass from a time when we are living for ourselves and living for whatever it is that makes us happy or that gives us a thrill, and then it changes into doing things that thrill God. You know, one of the things that makes me happiest in the whole world is getting to go and volunteer and serve people. You know, I mean, getting to go to Penn up in Virginia Beach and meet a man who may not have any money, may be in Virginia Beach and not have any family, may not be able to buy food, and then they get to give that to him? Are you serious? It's like Christmas over and over and over again to be the person who gets to give something to people who are in line so they can get exactly what you have to give. It's awesome. I don't know, I hope that you guys have had that exact same experience, but that's the kind of thrill that only comes from living for Christ. That's not to say that non-Christians don't volunteer. They do, but the motivation's different. I'll be honest, I'd rather sleep in on a Saturday if it's just Matthew's choice, but if I'm looking to seek and serve God, I'm probably going to get up and do something. So I would encourage you guys going forward, and in your discussion questions, I don't know, I'm looking around, I know I gave them to Andrew.
Yep, I got it.
But when you're going through your discussions, think about, one of the questions on there is, what can you do actively to please God in a roundabout way that may not be verbatim, so don't be disappointed, which you inevitably would be. Unless I forgot to put that question on there, and that would be really awkward.
We'll write it down.
Yeah, okay, we'll write that down. But one of the things I want you guys to ask each other is, what can you be doing to actively seek to please the Lord? Because when you please Him, in a roundabout way, you end up pleasing yourself as well. So, that is all that I have. We're going to pray, and then you're going to get in your discussion groups. and we're going to talk. I am particularly excited for the last question, which I believe will actually cause most of the discussion. So, let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for today and for allowing me the opportunity to speak about you, about the good things that you've done. Lord, I know that we can never talk enough or say enough good things about you and who you are and what you do for us in our lives. But I pray that if our words don't say enough, that our actions would be able to flow through us and be a living sacrifice, a living offering that would demonstrate just how much we love you and want to serve you. So bless us as we engage in our discussion and with any other events we may have tonight, that we might live for you and learn to leave our old selves behind so that our new selves can grow with you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.